Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
You have failed this city.
Wow. I know, right? Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
Welcome. Okay. It's you the right. What's the difference between you and me?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
But that is being human.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Watchtower. Glad to see you all here. I'm looking forward to talking DC with all of you tonight. I did see what you tweeted me, Donovan. I did see what you tweeted me. Of course, you tweeted me a few things lately, but yeah, I've seen it. So what's going on, everybody? How's it going? I'm glad you could all make it. Who do we have here? Make sure you hit that like button, and if you're here, don't forget to do that. We got Trayvon in here. Says, I'm ready. What's going on, Trayvon? Amari, what's up? What's going on? We got Emo Nerd Girl. Hey, nerds. What is going on? This is going to be fun. Patrick is in here. Says, hi, everyone. Hi. Yes. We are going to go forward. Brian with an I. I paused Flashpoint Paradox to be here. Well, I am honored because Flashpoint Paradox is a great, great film. I loved that movie. Such a great movie. Douglas Fryer says, hello, how's it going? Right. Well, we do have a few things to talk about, news-wise and not news-wise, rumors-wise, just all kind of weird things in the DC universe. And then I do want to talk about the main topic of the day, which is discussing the score from Superman. Because I wanted to do that last week, but some things, I had a guest on that came on and we discussed some things. But I do want to talk about the score this week. I'm going to kind of go track by track a little bit and discuss it. And give my thoughts on what John Murphy and, the name just left me, but what they did with the score. So we'll get into that after we go over these few news things here. So first and foremost, Lanterns. Ulrich Thompson has wrapped filming his scenes as Sinestro in Lanterns. This was just 2 days ago. He said, bye for now, Sinestro. I'll keep one side for later, as he shaved off half of his mustache and he took a picture of himself. He also said, hope to see you again at DC Official. So to me, what this is saying is, one, he probably doesn't die, which obviously Sinestro, I can't imagine that they would kill Sinestro off like that. But he's hopeful that there's going to be more and he will be showing up down the line, which is awesome to see and hopeful. I can't wait for this show, guys. This show, I think, is going to be fan-freaking-tastic. I don't know. I'm getting more and more hyped as we are moving forward towards that show. I know we got Peacemaker in just a couple weeks here, and I'm excited for that. But this Lantern show, I tell you what, there's just something about this show that the more I think about it, the more I'm sitting here thinking, like, you know what? This show could be what fully establishes the DCU in the realm of comic book nerdism and really just solidifies like DC as like we're here and we're here to stay. So that's what I think, but I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see, probably within the next, I'm hoping within the next like 6 months, we're going to start hearing more and more and more about this show. So I'm really, really pumped about it. Let's see. What do we have saying over here? Geez. Douglas Fry says, they need to release the score on CD or vinyl. Have they not? I do most of my stuff digitally anymore, so I didn't know that. Emo Nerd Girl, I hope you're talking to them, saying, just eating dinner and watching Transformers old school cartoons. That's pretty cool. Brian with an eye says, I can't wait. Yes, this show is going to be awesome. Donovan says, I truly believe we will get the teaser for Lanterns sometime in October or November. Yeah, James Gunn the other day kind of alluded to the fact or the idea that we're definitely going to get Lanterns before Supergirl. So I'm guessing if Supergirl's coming out in June, maybe March, maybe April. That could be a possibility. If that's the case, yeah, I could see a teaser within the next 6 months or less, before the holidays. Absolutely, I think that's a very, very good possibility. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't HBO Max, don't they typically do like some big, or is it Warner Brothers? Don't they do some big, like, I don't know, maybe the upfront or something like the upfronts in November? Don't they do something around there? I can't remember now. It's kind of leaving me, but maybe around then. Trayvon says, I've been told that Lanterns will definitely be an epic show. Oh, it should be. I hope so. Amari says, Sinestro Corps potentially in the future. That'd be interesting. What if they just did a show about that? Or something? I don't know. And Trayvon, did James Gunn kill Sean's cat? What's going on there? Critic Chris, Snyder called our most I guess you meant to say unhinged, delusional people. I pity them. Amari, I just want to see them suits. Yeah, talking about the Lanterns. Yes, I can't wait to see what they look like in their suits. Douglas Fryer, no, they haven't released it yet on CD or vinyl. That's wild. That is wild. I remember years ago. I mean, I'm a big fan of musical scores for films. I mean, thanks to John Williams with Star Wars when I was growing up, that's what got me into it. And I remember just even through like the mid to late 2000s, like 2010, 2011 even, when a movie was coming out where I just needed to hear that musical score, I went to the store the day the film came out and bought it. Bought it on CD. It's crazy to think that they haven't released the CD yet for Superman. That's wild to me. Hunter Iggy, what's going on? He says, what's up, everyone, and how is your week so far? I mean, it's the end of the week, so it's going great now. Yeah, nice weekend. We got SummerSlam for WWE this weekend. That's exciting. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next thing. I want to talk about the Superman box office right now because domestically it has reached $302 million as a motorcycle decides to fly down my street for no reason at all. But domestically it has made $302 million, and it is at $225 million internationally for a worldwide total of $527 million. Now here's the thing. It is doing phenomenally well. Internationally, it could be doing better. But domestically, it is officially become the highest grossing solo Superman movie domestically, which is fantastic to hear. But then you have these people who want to constantly try and compare it to Man of Steel, compare it to Batman vs Superman, compare it to this, compare it to that. And look, I've gotten caught up in all that. I've written articles, I've made videos, I've done things about that. And here's the fact of the matter, okay? Because I know some of the people, some of you in the chat are talking about Sean O'Rourke and kind of what he posted on his YouTube channel today in his posts, talking about ticket sales and talking about how, you look at ticket sales, and when you look at ticket sales, Man of Steel sold 25% more tickets than Superman did in 2013. So Superman, despite being a domestic success, domestically being a success, they still want to hold on and grasp onto it's a failure. And that's all anybody wants to say. They constantly, the only way that they can sit here and say that Superman is a failure is by sitting here and comparing it to a movie that came out nearly 15 years ago. That is the only way that they can possibly, in any way, say it's a failure. And that's kind of ridiculous. Because I constantly try to remind people that it's not about what happened 10, 15 years ago. It's about what's going on today. But even those people who want to sit there and take a look at the ticket sales, okay? So ticket sales in 2013 were up. Nearly 40% than they are today. So from today, we're talking about overall. I'm saying ticket sales overall, theatrically. Ticket sales are down nearly between 30 and 40% overall across all movies. Down between 30 and 40%. Superman is only down 25%, and its run isn't over yet, mind you, but only down 25% comparing to a movie that came out in 2013. In ticket sales, that means how many butts were in seats, if they want to compare that way. So, if you want to look at it, when you want to sit there and say, well, it didn't sell as many tickets, okay, I get that. It didn't sell as many tickets. But let's take a look at what's going on in the world today. Nearly 40% of fewer people are going to the theaters today than they were in 2013. But Superman was able to gain nearly 15% more of those people back to the theater to go see it. You see, they don't look at all of the information. All they do is say, well, it didn't do this to Man of Steel. No, you refuse to look at all the information. All you're looking at is this. But when you look at what's going on in today's world, that's how you have to look. That's how the studio looks at it. The studio looks at what's going on in today's world. What is going on in today's world? And they say, okay, how is Superman shaping up against comic book movies in the last year or two? Oh, it's one of the best comic book movies, box office wise, in the last 3 years that isn't named Deadpool and Wolverine. Bravo. Oh, it's doing better than the norm when it comes to opening sale or opening weekends and having legs from week to week, from day to day. Bravo. There's people excited on social media for it. Bravo. That's the stuff that the studios are looking at. They're not sitting there saying, oh man, that Man of Steel movie in 2013 sold 25% more tickets. They don't care about that because the world was a different place then. So all these people that want to sit there and try and put a feather in their cap because they think, oh, Man of Steel did better, it doesn't matter. It's never mattered. It has never mattered. I warned everybody about this like a year ago that this was going to happen. That's why I tried explaining to everyone that, one, Superman never had to be better than Man of Steel. Like, to me, it never, like, even being a massive fan of Man of Steel, Superman never had to be better than it. It never had to be better quality-wise. It never had to be better box office-wise. I just wanted to go in and enjoy myself, have a fun time, come out of it excited for the DCU. That's all it had to do. And guess what? It's done that. Financially, it's hit the marks that the studio has stated it needs to hit. So boom, there you go. It's doing what it has to do. Full stop. It doesn't matter what these people over here are saying. It doesn't matter what Man of Steel did, what Batman vs. Superman did, because it was a different time. It was a different studio. It was a different regime. It was so much different. So here we sit today and we say, you know what? Superman's doing successful. It is successful, and we move on. And there we have it. Now, I know there's this rumor that it's supposed to come out digitally on August 15th. And then people are freaking out. Oh, that's going to kill the box office completely for it. Well, first off, that is a rumor right now. there has been no solid proof that it is coming out on the 15th. The studio hasn't announced anything. Warner Brothers, who is the distributor, would have to announce that most likely, and they haven't. But even if it did, that's not out of the norm for what goes on in today's industry in Hollywood. Movies typically are exclusive in the theaters for like 45 days. Some a little less, some a little bit more. But 45 days is typically the range that movies are exclusively in theaters. And then they hit they come out digitally where you can purchase them on digital. And then they sit there to purchase digitally or go see them in the theater still, in certain theaters, not all theaters, but some of the bigger theaters and some of the dollar theaters, things like that, like the smaller, like, you know, the not the dollar theaters, but the like second wave theaters, you'll see them in. So you can still see them in the theaters then, or you can get it digitally for like another 45 to 50 days. And then they go on their respective streaming services. But people act like this is they have no confidence in their movie. They're already putting it on digital. Well, no, this is the norm. This is what they do. This has been the practice for the better part of the last 5 years. It's what they've been doing now. So, again, if you hear that, don't get worried. I know none of you probably get worried, but I know a lot of people, they sit there and act like this is some big, crazy conspiracy that DC and Warner Brothers has no more confidence in this movie, so that's why they're doing this. No. And here's the crazy thing. As soon as it hits digital, so many people are going to buy that movie, it's going to pop right up. And you know it's going to be atop of the charts digitally. And there's still going to be people that go watch it in the theaters because they're still going to want to see it on the big screen. So it's still going to be making money at the box office as well as getting that money digitally. So there you have it. It's successful, and come on, they announced a Superman. What did I do? Whoops. Oh. Wrong button. Wrong button. They announced a Superman 2, didn't they? Oh, no. No, that's right. That's not what happened. Man, that was all crazy and just misunderstanding of what was going on, right? Everybody was in a tizzy yesterday because on Threads, Gunn responded to a fan asking what he was currently working on. And he said, Peacemaker press and sequel writing. And the person further asked, when are you going to tease the sequel? And he shot back, I just did. So everybody, people from John Campea, Christian Harloff, to pundits, to outlets, they all started running with this story that, holy crap, Superman 2 is confirmed. And that's not what it actually was. What it was actually, well, Alex Ronval asked, I'm a little confused right now. Is this the same movie you've talked about in the past? The one where you said Superman had a major role but was actually wasn't actually a sequel? Or is this a different movie? And this one is actually Superman 2? And he goes, yes, sorry. This is the same movie. Superman has a major role. It's not Superman 2. So people, got all excited, ran with this story. We're talking all about this. So excited. But that's not what it was. And it's a little disappointing though, right? Just a little. I mean, I got to say, look. When I first read this, I had no access to a computer at the time, so I couldn't really make any comment about it. So I kind of just let it go. Plus, I knew there was no way that they were going to announce a Superman 2 that way. Even James Gunn wouldn't do that. I kind of figured it was this project, this sequel, non-sequel that he was talking about, but I just let it play out because who knows? Maybe it was going to be a Superman 2. And it wasn't. But it was really funny to see how everything played out over the day yesterday. How Superman 2 is coming. And everybody freaking out and talking about it. And then he's like, but no, it's not Superman 2. It's that other movie. And everybody's like, Oh, okay. So that was kind of funny. It was fun. For sure, it was a little fun. But there was still some more. Resident Justice, he says, are we close to an official confirmation as to what this movie you're writing currently is, or is it still a ways off? And James Gunn says it's a ways off. So, yeah, we're still a ways off from hearing what this is, seeing what this is. He's kind of alluded to how he goes about writing, how he kind of, puts down the ideas, kind of messes with things before he really dives into the writing. I'm sure he's not going to announce anything until he's 100% sure this movie's going to happen. So, I mean, it's something that could come about towards the end of the year, could be next year. Who knows? Who knows when they're going to be ready to announce it? But I think this is kind of one of those things that I would say push to the side. We know it's happening. He's working on it. Get excited for Peacemaker, Lantern, Supergirl, and let's focus on probably what's closer to being done and ready. I would say things like Wonder Woman, Clayface, that kind of stuff. Those things are a lot closer to coming to fruition than, say, something like this. At least that's what I would think and feel. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about all this. So let me know in the comments below. All right, I saw chat going crazy over here. So let's see what you are all saying. Donovan says, Slav laying the smackdown on Sean. He loves to always leave out key context and facts. The fact Sean left that out of his argument about ticket sales, that is incredibly bad faith. Here's the thing. It's not that people leave out. Sometimes they don't even think about it. Sometimes they just sit there because they get all excited because they go, oh, look, Man of Steel did this, Superman did this, haha, I win. And that's all they think about. Instead of just sitting back and just thinking about the whole picture. Because, look, I understand Man of Steel did well. Man of Steel did really, really well internationally. Man of Steel, overall, ticket sale-wise, did really well. I get it. I understand. But Superman has been doing really, really well itself, especially for 2025. When you look at everything going on in the industry, with theaters, with Hollywood, everything going on, Superman has done really well. And you can't take that away from it. You can't. You just can't. Let's see. What else we got over here? Douglas Fryer says it's domestically probably going to go past Batman v Superman at 3:30. Yeah, what's it at right now again? It's at 3:02. I could see that. I could potentially see that happening. It just really depends. I mean, this weekend is not a huge weekend for movies. I know Naked Gun comes out and Bad Guys 2 comes out. Next weekend is kind of a big weekend for film. There's a couple not huge movies coming out next weekend, but bigger films that I think are there. And it's not even that they're going to come out. It's going to be movies that are pushing Superman to having fewer viewings in the day. And that's where things start to really teeter out. So, for instance, like the theater I go to, they have 11 total theaters in the building. So 11 theaters. They can only show so many movies in a day. So out of those 11 theaters, if there's a total of, say, 10 movies that are out at that point in time, sure, they can show one of those movies in each theater throughout the day. But let's just say Weapons comes out next week. Weapons is supposed to be a bigger movie. They're probably going to want to have that in at least 2, maybe 3 theaters for that opening weekend. So that's going to push 1 or 2 of those movies out of the theater. And then you're limiting how much time those other films can be shown in those other theaters. So, you have to take a look at it like that. As more movies come out, it pushes those films out of the smaller theaters. Sure, the bigger ones, like the one up in Pittsburgh near me, that theater's huge. I think it has a total of 26 theaters up there, maybe more. So absolutely, it could stick up there for probably another month and still have showings. But the one nearest me, it's probably got a week or two, maybe 3 before it's going to probably be out of that theater. So that's what you have to look out for, is at a certain point, it's just going to start dropping out of theaters, and that's what's going to be really tough for it. So that's why I really feel like, sure, in those second wave theaters that it could hit, which are some of those smaller theaters, those mom and pop theaters that are still kind of around, it's going to hit those theaters for sure, and it'll stick in those big theaters. But yeah, I that's my concern. I think it's not going to be hitting those $5 million, $6 million for much longer. On random days, like on the weekends for much longer. So that's where I'm at with it. Where else are we at here? If I missed something, I apologize. You can yell at me in the chat, say, hey, you didn't see my thing, and just say it again. Emo Nerd Girl says quality, not quantity. Hey, that's what you got to go with. That's what I hope James Gunn sticks with. Douglas says, I will buy it on 4K Blu-ray. Yeah, when it comes out, keep in mind, it probably won't come out. I can't imagine it's going to be put out physically when it comes out digitally. So it'll probably come out digitally. I'd say probably before the end of August, it'll come out digitally. And then I would say probably middle of September, near the end of September, it'll come out physically. That's what I would I would not suggest. I would predict. Trayvon says, Superman versus the Authority. You heard it here first. Maybe. Perhaps. Randula says, just a little disappointing. That was a huge letdown to the DCU. What are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about. Did I say something? Patrick, I'm a little disappointed that it's not a solo Superman sequel, but I will still watch it. This is my and I'm not 100% disagreeing with you, Patrick, because it seems like it's more of like an idea of possibly rushing it, or mind you, maybe it's something along the lines of the Authority, and maybe that's why they couldn't crack the idea for the Authority movie, and they thought, hey, maybe the best way is to put Superman in it. Maybe that's what it was. So I don't know. Or is it Mr. Terrific and the best idea was to put Superman in? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see what it is. Honestly, I am interested to see what it could be for sure. Brogu. I love the little picture. I love it. Hello everyone. How's it going? I love it. Sorry. Man. Randula says Gunn is just a Snyder 2.0. No, I wouldn't. Not even close. Brogu says go see Superman before they take it out of the theaters. Yes, go see it one more time if you guys can. Absolutely. If you want to. I mean, you don't have to. But if you want to, go see it. Awesome Joe says, hello brothers, it's live. Hello Slav, what's going on? Randola, Gunn is not giving a solo movie to Superman to develop the character and establish a solid fan base. He will just put Superman in team-up movies and make him a side character just like Snyder did. No, I don't think that's what he's going to do. I think we will get a Superman 2. I think like a true Superman 2 at some point. I just think I'm worried that they want to establish the DCU a little faster, and that is a concern of mine. But I also don't. James Gunn may not want to do Superman 2 himself. Maybe they want somebody else to take on Superman, and maybe they're just waiting to find the right person to do it. So they may do this sequel, not sequel, whatever it is. And while they're doing that, they could be developing a Superman 2 sequel as well. So just, step back a little bit. Just give it time. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not ready to sit there and say that that's how it's going to be. Amari says, I want a Superman 2, but why not have him be in other projects to explore the DCU? Absolutely. I think Superman should pop up here and there through everything as much as possible, because first off, David Cornsweet absolutely owns the role of Superman, and you want him to be the face of the DCU. So if he's popping up here and there, if he pops up in Peacemaker, if he pops up in Supergirl, if he pops up in Lanterns, especially these first like 3 or 4 projects, if he pops up in some capacity, then this is all in the same universe. This is, Superman is here. This is where it's at. I don't mind that. As long as it fits, as long as it flows with everything, I'm cool with it. I'm completely cool with it. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. But, all right, guys. Let's get to the big topic of the day, which is the musical score for Superman. Now, for obvious reasons, I can't play the score on a live on YouTube because they will just smack me with, copyright and all that crap. So that's unfortunate. I do encourage you, if you have the ability to listen to it. Each song, you can go back and after I talk about it, you can listen to the piece, hear what I have to say about it. If you agree, disagree, you can put it in the comments later. However you want to go about doing it, I encourage you to do that, because music hits people in a different way. It absolutely does. Now, I was very concerned about the score going into this, because if you guys remember, I wasn't keen on the idea of utilizing John Williams' score theme, Superman theme specifically, for this movie. I wanted them to do something completely new. I did. I wanted them to do something new. John Williams' theme for Superman is iconic. It is Superman. It basically, the music basically says Superman in it. But I was blown away by the teaser trailer. I was blown away by the music when we started hearing it in the official trailer. So I was like, okay, let's see how the music is in the movie. So I agree. Like, yeah, the music, I was willing to give it a chance. Now, don't forget, John Murphy was the original composer for this. Like, he was the one that was supposed to come in originally and just be him doing it. When was it? Was it January or February? We then heard that David Fleming was brought on to work alongside John Murphy. Now, we don't really know if it was because of issues with John Murphy. We don't know if it was because they weren't getting the sound. Like, we don't know the backstory about it. We do know that there are many pieces of music that are in collaboration with both David Fleming and John Murphy. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to be completely upfront and honest, because this is just, I'm saying this is a possibility. I'm not saying this is what happened, because I've seen some interviews saying where they work together. But I'm thinking that they just couldn't crack getting it how they wanted it to feel. And they brought David Fleming in to kind of just give it a little more oomph to it. That's kind of how I think it went down. But who knows? I mean, it doesn't seem to me that they brought David Fleming in and like pushed John Murphy out. That, to me, it just doesn't seem like that's what happened. Like, that could have been what happened, but I don't think that is. I think that they brought him in and they worked together to get the score. So there are some moments in this score that I really, really, really like. There's a few moments that I think, wow, this is great. But then there's moments in this score that I just sit back and I go, ugh, we sure this isn't a CW show here? Like, oof. Like, there are some moments like that. And look, I know there's some people that love this score. I've talked to some people who just sit there and say, man, I've listened to this frontwards and backwards, and I love it up and down. And I wish I could. I wish I could sit there and say I love this up and down. And I'm not sitting here saying this, like, I'm not comparing it to anything in the past. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this strictly as a score for this movie. You know, I while I don't play drums as much as I used to, I am somebody who enjoys music. I played drums growing up. I help my son and my daughter who they both play drums. You know, I want to make sure that they understand music and play drums, and I'm very big into music. So, you know, I have an understanding of music to a point. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm any kind of genius when it comes to music, but I understand it to a point, and you know, I like to sit there and think like I have a decent taste of music. I like to say I do. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But let's get into it, okay? Enough of the opening here. Let's get into it. All right. Let's see. Some of you, Trayvon says, "Shut your mouth, Slav." Hope for Life asked, "When do you think we'll get the 2027 DCU slate?" Honestly, it could be at CCXP. As you know, so by the end of this year, it could happen. Could be at New York Comic Con. I'm thinking it could be New York Comic Con, honestly. Let's see here. Uh-oh. What did I do? Okay. What else we got? Real quick before I do this. Awesome Joe says, "The Superman score gives me chills every time. I love it a lot." That's good. Brogu says, "Let's just say I didn't care for the punk rock choice that Superman liked. I must be too old, but I didn't even recognize that band at all. Punk rock to me is the Stooges or Sex Pistols." Awesome Joe says, "When it comes to music, James Gunn makes an awesome soundtrack." Okay. So the score opens up with a piece called Home. And it is definitely, it opens with a very nostalgic nod to John Williams, you know, the iconic Superman theme. But it does quickly pivot to more contemporary territory. Unfortunately, the tonal shift leans heavily into what I think is like a made-for-TV aesthetic. It lacks like this cinematic weight expected from a major motion picture. And this was one of my major complaints throughout this movie. And you're going to see that there's multiple pieces here through this movie that when I listen to it, I'm like, well, what is it that causes this? Like, I just, is it that it's from John Murphy and why do I keep David Fleming? I keep forgetting his name. Like, is it because their mixture of the two of them working together, or what is it? Like, that's what I've been trying to figure out. I've listened to this soundtrack, man, probably 10 or 15 times, maybe more. But like, this specific piece is just done by David Fleming. So, you know, it was kind of weird to me. Now, this next one, Last Sun, which is the second piece, this one is you know, it's heavy on the synth, like synthesizers. It has like this vintage sci-fi feel, more like an 80s feel to it, which I really liked. But it then builds and slowly builds and slowly builds. And then it gets big and transitions into what becomes what I think is truly the thematic motif for this Superman. The payoff is stirring, it's capturing the awe and the idealism in a fresh yet familiar way. I loved this particular piece in the movie, and the score, everything. Like, this particular piece, I think, should be like the centerpiece of the film. There's probably 4 or 5 within this soundtrack that I sit there and say, you know what? These are the highlights, these are the standouts. Last Sun is probably right up there in that handful of them, right there. But then what's unfortunate is you get to Hammer of Baravia, and yeah, it's huge, it's big, it's bombastic, it's percussive, it's, you know, got this industrial undertones, it's energetic, but it's just overproduced, and it feels like it's an 80s action television show theme rather than something for cinematic, like, film. Like, again, we keep hitting that. This is another David Fleming piece, and then I go back, I'm like, okay, so David Fleming did the first piece, which felt like television, and then he did this one. And I'm trying to figure out, like, is it David Fleming that's causing this, or is it just that things aren't flowing together? Because he did Last Son, which was awesome, but then you have this, and it just felt so out of like everywhere for me. And then you have Luther Core, which I think is another one that stands out. Now this one is done by John Murphy. Now this one really felt like a James Bond theme, which I really liked. It's got these moody strings, these stealthy rhythms. It's a sharp melodic contour, and it's really Lex Luthor's theme, essentially. And I think this is like the second strongest theme in this score, and I really, really do like this. I do. The Daily Planet, which is, again, another David Fleming piece. It's light and bouncy, but very uninspired. It has bright horns, perky rhythm, but it feels like it's lifted right from a CW show rather than grounded in the grandeur of Metropolis. So again, another David Fleming one that just kind of falls flat and feels like a TV show to me. But then you have Lois and Clark, which is the budding romance theme of the movie. It has like this acoustic guitar, lush strings. It helps sell the emotional bond. The track feels a little underwhelming at first, but that is until you realize what comes later. And that one is done by John Murphy. Eyes Up Here, I really like this one because it is very much a play on those old Japanese, and not even old, like Japanese kaiju monster movies. Like when you hear it, you just know. And I did like that. And it really kind of blends the tension and spectacle beautifully. The choir's ominous rise gives the scene gravity. And then there's times where you hear the triumphant Superman theme within it. It's great. I think this is one of the better moments in the movie. And oddly enough, it's done by David Fleming. So, like, it's weird because he's got two good pieces, but most of what he's done so far is not great. Then you have Justice Gang vs. Kaiju. And while it's very much related to Eyes Up Here, it lacks the same impact. It uses a lot of heavy synthesizers, retro-styled elements again, like an 80s vibe. But it feels less intentional and more like a stylistic mismatch. I just didn't like it. I don't like the Justice Gang's theme really at all. I'm just not a fan of it at all. And then you have Intruders, which is very percussive heavy. It functions more as a transitional filler. Like that's what the music sounded like. It just sounded like it was filler in the background more than something that would help push the story. And it doesn't really give much urgency. It's not really there for really any reason but just to be musical filler in the background, which is disappointing. Then you have The Message, which is supposed to be like this big pivotal moment, emotional moment in the movie, but it takes its time with the atmosphere, and this is a good thing. Like it takes its time. It's introducing like this nice choral section, adds a touch of the sacred beauty, suggesting the weight of it. It's a good piece. I'm not going to say it's a great piece. I'm not saying it's a bad piece. It's a decent piece. This one is actually done both by David Fleming and John Murphy. Then you have Secret Harem, which is kind of a direct continuation of The Message, again done by David Fleming and John Murphy. A little more urgent, a little more synthesizer forward. You can definitely then hear Lex's presence in it, a little more dark, brooding, a little more bass in it. So yeah, it's good. Again, I'm not going to sit there and say it's great, but it was decent. Then you have The Real Punk Rock. This is another one that I would put up there in one of the top 5 of this whole thing. This track is the emotional heartbeat of the film, 100%. It highlights Superman and Lois's bond, the use of the piano, the warm timpani rolls, the soaring strings. It builds to a gentle sweeping crescendo. It's a beautifully retrained piece that perhaps ends too soon. It is just a little too short. But it takes place in this scene here, as you see. It is such a great moment in the movie, but it is a beautiful piece of music that I just wish lasted just a bit longer. Just a bit longer. And I think that's kind of my biggest issue with this soundtrack as a whole. All of these music pieces are just so short. So short. And it's so disappointing because some of these pieces, especially the ones I really like, I just want them to go on, and it just doesn't. Then you have Pocket Universe, another David Fleming special. It's got like this ticking motif, with a subtle choral like element to it. It's got this feeling of temporal dissonance, time suspended or running out. There's like this haunting eeriness to it, which I thought is really neat. But it's not the best. Again, it feels almost like it's there just for filler in the background at times, but it isn't bad. It isn't terrible. It's not one of the worst. It's not one of the best. Then you have Something Like a Sun, mostly atmospheric filler. This is one that's David Fleming and John Murphy. Offers very little terms in melodic or emotional development. You have Jailbreak, David Fleming. It's urgent, it's fast-paced, very synthesizer heavy. It serves its purpose but doesn't offer much identity. It's functional rather than memorable. You have The River Pie, which is David Fleming again. Another transitional track to underscore the seriousness of the scene without calling too much attention to itself. Then you have Take the Tea-Craft, another heartfelt and emotional anchor. This track echoes motifs from The Real Punk Rock, reinforcing the film's more human themes. It's a strong thematic reprise. And that's David Fleming and John Murphy together. Your Choices, Your Actions. I really like this one. Would I put it in like the top 5 pieces? I don't know. It's like got this gentle string and guitar piece that radiates like a calm reflection. It really makes you think of just being safe and being home. An emotional exhale is like the way I kind of felt when I listened to it. But we know it's that moment where Clark is talking to his father, and it's supposed to just be that warm and like friendly feeling, and that's kind of what it was. So, but it is a good piece. It is a good piece. Raising the Flag. Great piece of music, rousing reintroduction to the Superman theme, the synths, the electric guitars, layering in beautifully, creating a modern, almost anthemic feel, bold and inspiring, which cues you to soar. That's basically what it is, and that's a John Murphy special there. Then we have The Rift. Driving strings and relentless snare rolls give the cue its momentum, while a ticking undertone raises the stakes. Urgency is the name of the game here. It's David Fleming. Again, nothing overly special with that. Bass is loaded. Curious synthetic for a cinematic score. Curiously synthetic for a cinematic score. Much of this track feels sampled. Like, honestly, like I'm listening to this, and it feels like it was like a sample of something that came from The Flash, almost. However, the brass section does kind of rescue it a little bit because it gets really bombastic and big towards the end, which I like. Then you have Speeding Bullet, which is David Fleming. Exhilarating, propulsive, galloping strings, thunderous percussion, race forward, evoking a kinetic, high-stakes energy that perfectly suits Superman in motion. Then you have Remote Control. Eerie string work and haunting choral blend led into a percussive crescendo. It evokes dread and anticipation, like standing at the edge of something terrible about to unfold. That one is another one that is very much Lex Luthor. So that one, again, kind of stands on the same ground as, what was that one called? Where's it at? Luthor Core. So that's kind of where that sits. Upgrade, an electric guitar dominates what feels like a stock action track pulled from royalty-free archives. Yeah, that one wasn't very good. Yeah, it literally felt like you could just get that music off of YouTube. Really did. Then you have Driven by Envy. It's dark, it's layered, it's got some deep cellos with some frenetic violas and violins, swirl with gritty electric guitar to create tension. It morphs into a variation of Lex's theme, making it a compelling villain piece, which is pretty good. And then this one here, which I think is probably the best. This is, you got Last Sun and you got Look Up. And if I was going to put them up against each other for the best, I think Look Up would probably inch out ahead of Last Sun. This is a triumph. This track encapsulates everything the score should be. It's emotional, it's heroic, it's soaring. From the playful drum intro to the blazing strings and guitar-laced reimagining of John Williams' Superman theme. And then you add to that the returning to the cue from Last Sun, which should be this era's Superman theme. So if you know what I'm talking about, if you listen to this specific piece towards like the minute mark, a little after the minute mark, maybe like a minute 19, something like that, you hear like the guitar goes, whir, 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 like it goes that. That is what should be Superman's theme moving forward into the DCU. If you ask me, John Williams' Superman theme should be done. It should, like, that's done. Like, there should be, like, it was a nice transition into this movie, but that little guitar riff, that should be Superman's theme moving forward, if you ask me, because it is both fresh and iconic sounding. It is great. It is a really great sounding theme, and I just wish we got more of it in this soundtrack, and we just don't. We get it like 2, maybe 3 times throughout this whole soundtrack in a very short spurt. You never get it like a whole bunch of it. It's so disappointing. So disappointing. Then you have Being Human, which, Look Up, by the way, oddly enough, is David Fleming. But then you have Being Human, another David Fleming. It's just another variation of the Superman motif, this time with a slower, more introspective tone. There's a marching snare, kind of adds a little structure to it as well, and it kind of pulls on the heartstrings. You have Luther the Traitor. John Murphy says, John Murphy's piece. Lex's theme at its most menacing, deep, ominous tones and grim harmonic progressions. It sells the duplicity and menace. Then you have Metropolis. Maybe this is the most weak of the film. It feels overly polished, pop influenced. Kind of feels like a rejected Coldplay instrumental than a love letter to the city of tomorrow. Finally, you have Walking on Air. Walking on Air is John Murphy. It's a tender celebratory conclusion. It's essentially a variation of the Superman and Lois theme. It leans into romance and resolution with a more melodic, triumphant feel, a fitting emotional closer. So I'm not going to talk about the Mighty Crabjoy's theme because I don't care about that. But like honestly, like I said, this soundtrack is like all over the place because you sit there and you listen to it and it's like, oh, this is great. And then what is that? Like, really? Ah, man. But it's never like at a point where it's just so bad, it's like so annoying or it gets just drawn out because none of these pieces are that long. Like most of them, if you take a look, I think the longest piece, the riff is almost 5 minutes. Besides that, nothing is over 4 minutes. Nothing else is over 4 minutes at that point. Most things are 2 minutes or less. And that's just wild. That's so many, like that's why there's 31 tracks on this thing. That's just wild. Like they didn't let any of these pieces of music breathe. They didn't allow it to flourish and really just give us some music that really can resonate and give us something beautiful. And I think that's my biggest problem with it. Like I said, there's moments that just really come up and just, wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. I want to hear this every Superman movie. I want to hear this as Superman's theme from now on. Again, don't get me wrong. What John Williams did with his theme, the Superman theme from John Williams, iconic, awesome, fantastic. But I think this was a great movie to transition away from that because there is, in this movie, a fantastic theme for Superman that should be used. And it should be used moving forward, 100%. And I hope they hear this, and I hope they do, decide to do that. Again, it's nothing against John Williams. It's just one of those things that maybe that John Williams theme, because it was used quite a bit in this movie, maybe it's one of those things that, hey, we used it. Let's have something fresh and new and move forward. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right. So let's get rid of that, and then we will go back to this. All right, so what are you guys seeing over here? Got a lot of comments popping up. Let's see. All right, here we go. Critic Chris says, music soundtracks in movies I've been missing. Trayvon says, because I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. Patrick says, I did like the punk rock music in Superman. Brogu, John Williams is definitely a Jedi Master when it comes to creating music. He sure is. And, it's unfortunate because he's up there in age. We just don't have too much time. You just know because of his age. So, he says if something speaks to him, if a movie speaks to him, he will continue doing music. But, man. Awesome Joe says, punk rocker is my go-to music now every time I'm driving. It's now on my playlist. It's on my playlist, too. I do like punk rocker. Critic Chris, I still like to hear Three Doors Down Kryptonite in a Superman film. Amari says, someone is going to clip this out where Slav says Superman feels like a CW show. Somebody is going to clip that out. Man, I should have thought about that. No, the music. There's a piece of music that feels like that. Man, I should have thought about that. Marty says, why they got to show that pic out of all of them? They choose that terrible shot. Well, this is my website. But I don't think it's a terrible shot. I like that shot. I love that whole shot in that movie. I've liked that shot. I don't know. Let's see. Trayvon says, I'm sorry, but unless I'm watching a movie at home, the music takes a backseat in terms of importance when watching a movie in theaters. Not for me, Trayvon. Not for me. Music is very important for me. Has been since I first experienced Star Wars, and from that day forward, I've paid attention to music in movies ever since. I noticed it the first time watching Superman to the second time watching Superman. Like I've noted, like I noticed the music, and does it take me out of the movie? It's bad if it's bad, no, but I want the music to work. I want it to be done well, and I was disappointed with Superman's score for sure. Awesome Joe says, I'm hoping James Gunn makes a better DC brand intro and all DC shows that makes it grand, something that makes you excited to watch. Well, I give it time. I mean, I don't mind the DC intro right now, but even Marvel, they're on their third iteration, like the MCU's on their third iteration for their opening. So they'll just make different openings, over time. So give it time. Patrick Ollinger says, have you seen the Superboy TV show from the 80s, early 90s? I actually have never watched that TV show. I have not. Awesome Joe, the DC intro is like that animated Super Friends in silhouette. That music is awesome. Critic Chris, I like the 2005-06 DC intro used in Batman Begins and Superman Returns, but I'm sure people would compare that to MCU's. Let's see. Brogu, I feel that the movie could have been a little longer without being annoying to the audience. Yeah, I think the movie could have been longer, too. I think another 15, 20 minutes would have done a lot of justice for it. Critic Chris says, I like Superman Returns. You see the S logo, then Clark taking his glasses off, and I swore I heard voice say Kent. Funny Guy 9000 says, Luthor Core and Last Son is pretty good. Yeah. The Luthor Core, Last Son, which ones are they? I'll go through them real quick and I'll tell you what my favorites. So Walking on Air I like, Luthor Core, Look Up. So here we'll go. Walking on Air, Look Up. That's 2. Let's see. And Last Son, I really like. That's 3. I know I'm missing a couple here. What am I missing? I do like Eyes Up Here a bit, but not a whole lot. The Real Punk Rock. It's a great one. So yeah, I mean, there's just a handful that are really good. Funny Guy 9000 said, Speeding Bullet also sounds like a Flash title-based song. It does. Amari says, the one villain I wish they had was Metallo. One day, hopefully. Let's see. Amari says, my version of Lex was that he was selling his weapons to the black market, giving Intergang and Bruno Ugly Mannheim kryptonite to use against Superman. Oh, you're talking to Critic Chris there. Trayvon says, no John Williams theme, no Superman. Simple as that. See, I disagree. Like, again, it's iconic. I love it. And I'm a huge John Williams fan. And I love the way that they updated it for this movie. I think they did a fantastic job updating it for this film. But they truly made a fantastic theme for Superman in this. And it is, and even that theme is slightly like John Williams' theme. It's just slightly different. It's not like you can hear the just slightly, like it's there a little bit. I don't know. It's just anyways. Let's see. Funny Guy says the CW show's music is way too loud. I could barely hear the characters from shows like The Flash. You didn't want to hear the characters half the time. Most of the time they just said, "We are the Flash." Randola says, is the Swamp Thing movie still happening? I mean, James Mangold is supposed to be doing that, but he's also supposed to be doing a Star Wars movie. Who knows? I mean, they haven't officially canceled it, if that's what you're asking. Why Arc 9? Justice Society and the DCU. Yeah. Awesome Joe, the Watchtower is as important as the Justice Hall for Super Friends. The more I thought about it, I definitely think the Watchtower is going to be in it. I do. Studio of Art says movie was a 5 out of 10. Ouch, man. Ouch. Oh, boy. So what else we got? Anything else? Anything else, guys? What did I just do? Pressing buttons that I shouldn't be pressing. I don't think I got anything else. I'm just making sure nothing popped up. Don't see anything else. No, I don't. Let's see. Critic Chris says, I'm sure they'll move to the Watchtower in due time. For sure. For sure. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it. Huh. I don't think I got anything else right now. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on Superman's score in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Next week, I will do a Slavs Free Talk podcast next week. Next Thursday, I think Watchtower will actually be a Thursday next week. I think it will be. I don't think I have anything going on. So that's good to know. So that should be interesting. Funny Guy says, I think they might go from Hall of Justice to Watchtower. We'll see. Yeah. Funny Guy also says, great stream. Brian with an eye says, thanks, I enjoyed the stream. Thanks for you all joining. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you check out slavsfreetalk.com. Look, there's some great things over there on the website. Look, it's not just... Here, let me pull it up real quick so you guys can see, because there's some cool things over there. Because, we got articles galore. And it's not just DC. There's other things. I know, like the first 8 articles you see are DC, but there's reviews you'll see on there. There's some interesting things about like theaters. Like this isn't just about DC. This is about all comics. There's superhero stuff, other superhero stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff on there, but we're also looking for people to write on the website. If you're interested in contributing, reach out to me via email. You can go to the website and just click right here, click on this, and you can reach out to me. So that would be nice. If you're interested, you don't have to be. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the score. What are you saying over here? Studio of Art. Okay, the movie was good with the sadness and action, but the movie was so cringe. Like, come on, man. We have Green Lantern with a wig, and bro has more screen time than Superman. Superman is a good actor, though. He didn't have more screen time than Superman. Superman was he did not have more screen time than Superman. And yeah, he had a wig, but I mean, you couldn't tell it was a wig. You only know it's a wig because you know who Nathan Fillion is. So you know what Nathan Fillion's hair actually looks like. But if you sit back and just take in the movie as it's supposed to be and, just allow yourself to be taken away into the world of Metropolis and DC, then you'll be fine. So yeah. Okay. Anyways, so yeah. But with all that, yeah, you can check out the website. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, share this channel with all your friends and family. I'm on my way to, 3,000 subscribers? Is it 3,000 subscribers? I'd love to hit 3,000 before the end of the year. That'd be great. I'm at 2,400? Is that what I'm at? Something like that. It's crazy. Anyways, so 24 or 30, I don't even know what I'm at. Man, I'm terrible at knowing stuff, aren't I? I'm terrible. Terrible. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about everything. Yeah, I'm at 2,400 subscribers. I'd love to hit 3,000 before the end of the year. So share this around, all that kind of stuff. But all right, guys, I got to get out of here. I'm just ranting and not talking about anything. So with all that said, guys, I will catch you all later. See you next week.
The bat signal's lit and the Joker's in town. Wonder Woman's strength never backing down. Aquaman's rise, Flash's speed. It's the world of DC, it's all you need. We'll